RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, where's the button? All right. There we go. Hi, guys. What's up? Thank you for hanging out. This is Tara Devlin, unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you for hanging out. We meet here. We have our regular Friday show, but sometimes more regularly, I like to do a show during the week. So that's when we can. And anyway, I've been feeling bad because we haven't had a weekday show for 2 weeks. So here we are. And there's a lot to talk about. And thank you, guys. If you're on, I don't know, any other channel, come on over to youtube.com/C4channel/Tarabuster to hang out with me and the greatest chat room in American history. And right out of the gate, I want to say thank you, Mark. I see your super chat there. Thank you so much for your generosity and for keeping the show going and growing. Man, it means a lot. And I see Kathy and Pookie's mama Irene, and more will be joining us as soon as they get the notification. This is the problem with not doing the weekday show. You have to really be consistent, and I don't know. It's hard. That's what we said. Thank you, Mark. I was going to say that, which, whatever, who cares? Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for keeping the show going and growing, too. And your generous donations to the show, and also making this show part of the APS Radio News roster. That really helps us keep going, get the word out about, how we're going to save this country from sliding into autocracy like so many other republics before it. And we're hanging by a thread. It's getting ridiculous. I mean, really, to call it ridiculous would make it less ridiculous, would mean it would actually be a relief for it to merely be ridiculous, right? It's getting absolutely almost surreal how I can't believe what we're up against. And I just can't believe how low it keeps going. Now, I'll keep, excuse me. And if you can become a patron, please do at patreon.com/TaraDevil. And that'll help the show keep going and growing as well. And eventually I'll get the memberships going on the channel and all that. So you'll have different ways to support if you can. But either way, you're welcome. Please come and hang out. We need each other. We stick together, we win. That is how we're going to get through. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, to make it to if it was merely ridiculous. Oh, and thank you, Jim. I see Jim is in the house with your super chat. And also Jim is a moderator in the chat room. Thank you, Jim. I can't keep the show going without the help of our amazing moderators like Jim and Haiku. And hopefully we haven't seen Haiku last show. We didn't see him. Oh my God, Pookie's mommy. Thank you again. Another super chat. Yay, nice to see you on this indictment trial week. #lock 'em up. And speak of the devil, Haiku is in the house. I was worried about you, Haiku, I must say. And we did discuss you and your absence. We were like, where's Haiku? He didn't send a note. He didn't get his excuse note in. I didn't see. And we wondered where you were. We hoped I hoped you were out singing in your band, or playing your instrument in your band. I don't know what you're in a band, right? I don't know what instrument you play, but I'm sure it's good. It's a good one. That's the way my father used to talk to me. He used to say, I don't know what you do, but I know you do it well. So it was over. It's like that's where I am with my nieces and nephews too. I don't know what they do, but I know they do it well. So, and you too, Haiku. I don't know what you could tell me if you want. Because if you're in a band and you want to plug it on the show, just let me know, too. And one of these days, we'll have a meetup. We'll all get together and meet in person. That'll be fun. Maybe Robin will have, because Robin Kincaid had, from Head On Radio News, had a gathering, and I was there, and I met a lot of people, met some nice people. Everybody was great and nice, like David. Hi, David, if you're listening. And, yeah, it was fun, and I thought, well, we should do that. We had a Mike Malloy gathering. That was nice. Maybe one day we'll do it again. All right, nice to see you, Ed, in the chat room. All right, we're getting... All right, it's already a good show. Okay, so where do we begin? Yeah, to call it ridiculous is to... It would be a relief if it were merely ridiculous, but it's dangerous. And nice to see you, Terry Taylor, in the chat. Welcome, welcome all. Welcome one and all. Yes, Mark. I love Mike Malloy, too. He is my hero, my idol, my mentor, and mine and Robin's. We're his acolytes. So he taught us the ropes. He taught me the ropes. All right, let me see where to begin. Okay, what a joke. Okay, where do I even begin? I'm sure, I mean, there's so much to talk about. It's horrific. All right, and I keep saying, if it was just like I was saying, all right, let me get my head on straight. If it were merely ridiculous, it would be funny. But here's what I guess I want to start, and then it'll all start flowing from here. That I was watching the corporate media earlier, and Trump is in New York. Not today, they're off today, but he's in the first trial because he's a traitor, and well, whatever. This trial is about him. It's an election interference trial. This one in New York. It's hard to keep up. I know there's many trials. He's got, I think it was 91 indictments. I think there are 2 now. They shaved off 2 from the top, so it's 89 indictments in 4 different jurisdictions. And this is a criminal case. It's not a civil case. Not like the rape trial when he was adjudicated a rapist. And we can call him a rapist, even though YouTube doesn't like that. They might not monetize. That's why you got to keep it down. They're very touchy on YouTube. They don't like certain words, but he was adjudicated a rapist, and because he was upset that he was being called a rapist, and the judge released a statement saying that, or was it? I don't remember now. It's all mixing together. Was it a statement or was it some kind of official something? But it doesn't matter. The judge said that he is a rapist. So if the shoe fits, feel free to use the correct terminology. But so I was watching the trial coverage, which was kind of annoying. But what was really annoying was they kept talking about the jurors, okay? And the thing that sucks in this country is that this is what Republicans have done. They have divided this country. We've always been somewhat divided, but not to this extent where we're reading, let's say, or absorbing different news or different realities, because the right-wingers are absorbing news or whatever. They're absorbing propaganda from outlets that literally have to pay $2 billion for lying to them, and other right-wingers are absorbing propaganda that's even worse than that. That they function in a completely different stratosphere. And they were interviewing some of the jurors, and of course, I think that I don't know how many they seated. I think they seated 7 jurors, and Trump and his attorneys were very upset. Because according to this reality now, if you have any relation to anything democratic, then you're incapable of functioning, or not just, no, you're incapable of doing your civic duty to be on a jury against somebody who is a Republican. This is the world the Republicans have created for us. Hold on, let me lower this. We don't really need the music right now. Tonight, we only need the music on Fridays. But for example, I was watching the corporate media, and I don't know if I have this clip. Oh, God. Oh, don't worry. We're going to go over the Trump's Gettysburg address. only for the comedy. It's just, can you believe that? All right. I don't even want to get ahead of myself with that. But I don't know if I have anyway, let me just explain it. Katie Tur says something about how, when they were discussing the case, she wonders out loud, how could someone who admittedly voted for Biden be trusted or just be counted on to be fair? If I'm paraphrasing, of course, and it really annoyed the hell out of me, because that's the way it's supposed to go. It shouldn't matter if somebody is a Democrat or a Republican. This whole thing about the Democratic appointed this, or of course the Republicans say the Democrat appointed, the Democrat Party. And I hear this all the time now, slipping into just conversation. And of course, Katie Tur, who I think honestly is an undercover Republican, frankly, because she says things like Democrat Attorney General. And Democrat, I'm sorry, is not an adjective. It's a noun. If you were going to describe somebody, you would call them the Democratic AG, because the name of the party is the Democratic Party. And the way that they use Democrat is to emphasize rat, because that's all they have is little schoolyard bully taunts. And they don't have anything reality. They don't have anything to fall back on as far as success. And I have the receipts for that too. Because another thing I wanted to talk about tonight is how basically everything sucks under Republican governance. And it does. Suicide rates go up. Murder rates go up. Abortion rates go up. Everything that sucks goes up. The economy goes up when Democrats are in charge. I'm not saying this to be, inflammatory. That's just the facts. And not that the Democrats are perfect. No, because no human beings are perfect. Except I guess, if you're a Republican, you think there are only 2 perfect people. One was Jesus, the other was Trump. At least the Democrats are trying. They're trying to have a functioning society, a functioning government. And what the Republicans are doing is dividing us. And this is all to drag us back to the Dark Ages. They don't like democracy. That is the bottom line. They don't like living in a multiracial liberal democracy. And that's because, it's the elites tickling the racist funny bones of the people dumb enough to put them in power, because they promised them racism. They promised them division. That's all they get from Republican governance. The rest of it, you're on your own, bubby. Unless you are called in to be some kind of, to put your body on the line somehow, to be, that's some kind of, cannon fodder or whatnot. They don't, and as long as you die when you're in the line of duty, that's what they would prefer, frankly. Because they don't want you coming home and needing any services. But, I mean, that's really Republicanism. It is a scam. It's a con. To divide and conquer, especially along racial lines, every other line. Male and female, right? Gender, gay, straight. The gender... They were all about genders, right? Everything. I'm just thinking about these. Remember those robocalls I used to get? These fucking morons. This is what they do. Instead of going out there and making the world safe for democracy, going and doing the work, the good works that the savior they pretend to worship instructed them to do. They do things like harass me, or they try to. At least they fail at that too. But they harass me in my little dinky podcast because that's what you do when you're making America great. They're free speech absolutists. Please. Everything about them is just not rooted in reality. It's all their feelings, right? I mean, these are the ones that are like, fuck your feelings, right? And this morning I saw a tweet, some idiot on Twitter. I don't even know why I go on. I waste my time. Because it is a cesspool now. You realize that. Because everything Republicans touch turns to poopy. Turns to poop. They destroy everything they touch, and they've destroyed Twitter, of course, even though, Elon Musk calls himself a free speech absolutist, but a free speech up to the point that you agree with them. That's your speech, And, of course, somebody wrote on Twitter, I saw some jerk-off, nice person said, I don't care what you say. All Democrats are pedophiles? Something like that, right? And you can't talk me out of it. And I thought, okay, well, let's look this up. And I went on to Perplexity, the AI, which is really annoying. It's annoying, too, because you have to watch with that. You really got to double check your work, because sometimes I ask Perplexity and ChatGPT and all that to help me do research, and it won't do certain things. Like, I'll say, give me a list of all of the Republicans who've called for violence, and the Republican politicians or pundits who've called for violence against other Americans, and then it'll be, I am sorry, I cannot, do that because it's, and it's partisan. It's reality. I'm asking for research, the research. But this is what we're dealing with. Fuck your feelings, right? Hold on a second. So I asked, okay, where is it? I had it on my phone. Okay, give me a list of Republicans who have been caught being inappropriate. That's how I wrote it, with minors or underage people. Inappropriate with minors. Where the heck is it? Hold on. Fuck you, Perplexity. Wait a minute. Let's see. Wait a minute. Okay. Here we go. Give me a list of the Republicans who have been charged with inappropriate behavior with minors. And I was surprised they actually responded. So let's see. It goes on. And Republican anti-abortion activist Howard Scott Heldreth is a convicted child rapist in Florida. Republican County Commissioner David Schwartz pleaded guilty to molesting girls under the age of 11. Republican Judge Mark Palaskins or something pleaded no contest to blah blah blah. If I say that, I'm gonna get dinged by YouTube. Republican anti-abortion activist Nicholas Morency pleaded guilty to possessing child pornography. A Republican legislator, Edison Misa Aldrano, sentenced to 10 years for something his daughter between the ages of 9 and 17. This is your Republicans for you. I mean, and the list goes on and on. I can't read all of it. We'll be here for another half hour. So then I asked, give me the list. You probably can't see it because of the light. Of Democrats. Anthony Weiner was, let's see. That's it. But they had Anthony Weiner, who was charged with, or was it? Yeah, he was charged with sending inappropriate something, sexting an underage, like a 17-year-old. That's pretty much it. So I thought, isn't that interesting? But there goes your average Joe Republican. Everything that they talk about, everything that comes out of Republicans' mouth is either a projection or a confession. And there goes the Republicans again, saying how all Democrats are pedophiles. This is what she says. This person. But there's no getting through to them. There's no convincing them otherwise, because the Republicans have been so effective at making, at dividing the country, at making this bullshit fake news, that any legitimate news source is fake news, and every illegitimate news source that has to pay $2 billion for lying to them and simply is nothing but an amplifier for their, I guess, their bigotries, their malinformation. That's who they turn to. Oh, they don't want news. They want a mirror. And they want somebody to, and this goes into what we're saying about how all they care about is dividing and conquering us. And they've been really effective, because the average Joe Republican dupe, that's all they want to do is trigger the libs, right? They don't, what about health care? Oh, they say, you see, if, God help us, if, God forbid, Republicans are successful and they do take this country into autocracy, what will be their whipping post? Who will be their, what will be the excuses for cutting when they cut Social Security, when they cut Medicare, when they kick people off of their health insurance and whatnot? It will be whatever whipping post. It'll be Democrats, it'll be immigrants, because the bottom line is the average Joe Republican dupe want all the benefits of this civilization that normal people, that Democrats, progressives, normal people make possible, but they just don't want to share with others. That's it. They don't like other people. I mean, how childish are you this is your motivation? You want to trigger your fellow Americans. This is what makes me sick. And how can we trust the judgment of somebody on a jury who happens to be a Democrat? Well, this is how you trust them. Just like I would hope if the shoe was on the other foot, you hear the evidence. And if the effer is guilty, you adjudicate him or her guilty. It doesn't matter what political party they're aligned with. That's the way it's supposed to work. But Republicans have destroyed even that. Well, what are they? Are they a Democrat? This is what this con man keeps saying. Oh, I can't get a fair trial in New York. You could get a fair trial, hell yeah, in New York or any other Democratic bastion, because Democrats don't behave like that. We don't do things like that because we want the government to function. We believe in it. We believe in civic duty. We don't just call somebody guilty simply because they're a Republican. We let them prove us right first. We don't just say, oh, you're a Republican, so you must be guilty. And of course, you know what would happen if the evidence came out that the con man was actually innocent. People who are Democrats would be able to hear that because we're mature and capable of functioning in a free democratic society. We'd be able to hear that and deem him innocent or not guilty of the charges. And that is the truth. But if the shoe's on the other foot, I highly doubt it, frankly, because they have been so I don't know what, just so wedded to this cult. Look at what's going on in the Republican Party, in the Republican Congress, in the Republican Party in Congress. That's what I'm trying to say. On both sides. Anyone who has any, who isn't completely in this cult is gone already. And they're either they're gone or they're quiet and just going along, get along, because they like their cushy jobs, and shame on them, really, shame on them, and everything is a show. So I was listening to the corporate media, and they were interviewing, or they not just interviewing the jurists who were dismissed. But they were discussing what was going on in the courtroom when they were interviewing the people who were being interviewed for the jury. I don't even know how you say that, but they one person said, this is what got on my nerves. They were excuse me, saying that they like the way Trump walks into a room. Really? They like that, like a dullard coming in like a baboon, looking like he owns the place. Yeah, they like that. Another one said that they liked the con man. Not everybody liked him, of course, but this goes to show you what's out there in the American people. Really, not everybody's like us, paying attention. And that's the problem. Because, a lot of it is that they're overworked and they don't have the time, and then they see things in clips and they'll pass somebody, or that this is why propaganda works. They'll pass somebody that has Fox News on, and then when somebody will say, yeah, I hate that Joe Biden guy, and yeah, me too, let's go Brandon, FJB. Right? And they don't want to be contrarian because everybody wants to be accepted. So they just go along. It doesn't matter what the truth is. That's why Trump keeps repeating the lies again and again and again. because eventually it becomes true. It doesn't matter, if, for example, the crime rate is down, it's lower. Let me get this article. I just saw this. Trump falsely claims that crime is only going up despite all the evidence to the contrary. See, they just repeat it. It doesn't matter what reality is. Like when he goes in front of his dupes, he's like, that's it. We're going to drill, baby, drill again. We'll get back to American drilling. It doesn't matter that we are drilling, baby, drilling more than at any other time in American history, and that we are exporting more oil and drilling more oil than in any other time in American history. It doesn't matter. This is bizarro world where truth has a liberal bias, and you simply reject it out of hand. And another one said on the jury, or as they were being interviewed, he tells it like, I like him because he just tells it like it is. He just says whatever he thinks. That's what she said. He tells it like it is. No, he doesn't tell it like it is, by the way, guys. He tells it like it was. Back in the good old days, according to Republicans, but according to normal people, back in the days that we left happily in history's trash pile. He calls it like it is. And he speaks his mind. Someone said, he speaks his mind? What mind? His mind is food goes in here. This right here, that's my entertainment center, right? Get to work, girls. What else? Greed. That's it. It's just a gaping black hole of need and greed. He tells it like it is, or he speaks his mind. Yeah, scintillating mind you got there. Horse face, fat pig. And we love when he just speaks his mind and calls people fat pigs and horse face. Amazing. Such an amazing man who shouldn't be anywhere near the halls of power. I mean, what a disgrace. I like the way he walks into a room, and I like the way he speaks his mind. So let's give this country to a tax-cheating, draft-dodging, wannabe dictator con man who is on trial in 4 different jurisdictions for everything from rape, well, the rape trial's over, tax cheating, election interference, trying to overthrow an election, in trying to steal the election in Georgia, trying to get his dumbasses to storm then he did, to have them storm the Capitol and hang his vice president. That's the problem. Yes, Jim on the chat says, they just want a last decade to use the N-word. You're absolutely right. And in fact, down in Manhattan, down where the old courthouse, Laura Loomer, I didn't go down there this time and there were about, no joke, there were about 12 maggots down there. The con man called for, he called for them to all storm downtown Manhattan, shut it down. But 12 of them showed up. And one was Laura Loomer, and she tweeted something. I can't even, it's unbelievable. Let me see if I can find it. Oh my God. Oh, look at this shit. George Santos and Laura Loomer are hanging out tonight. Of course they are. George Santos, he is a thirsty bitch, isn't he? He really, really, really wants to be the center of attention again. No, but this is there. That's your Republican stars. Let's see. She was in New York, and this is what she puts on her Instagram. Let's see. Look. Laura Loomer. Greetings from Africa. You're exactly right, Jim. She's about a hair's hair breadth away from simply saying the N-word, but this is who they are. She takes a picture, her and who, I don't know who this other dummy is, but there's black people behind her. This is New York. You see, there's all these black people here. Greetings from Africa! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! There's 6 of them. 6 exclamation. Who can believe there's a lot of black people here? Oh my God! And she thinks she's cheeky, as you can see. Haha! Let's take a picture with these human beings that happen to have darker pigment in the background, and I'll say, look at this is New York City. This isn't Africa. See, because what have I been saying? They lack the fundamental ability to function in a free, democratic society, a nation of immigrants, a multiracial liberal democracy. That's it. They hate their fellow Americans because they're racist. Oh, aren't you sick of being called racist when you know you're not? Republicans, that was one of their CPAC seminars. Are you tired of being called racist when you know you're not? Well, stop acting like it. They're so racist, they don't even realize how racist they are, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they've embraced it, though. That's what it seems like. They've simply stopped fighting it. They've stopped fighting being offended about it, and embraced their racist freak flag. I mean, they really they go and give speeches with literal Nazis who not only are racist, of course, but hate America, hate the system that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us. They give, like Nick Fuentes, they have dinner with Nazis. This is where we are. But it's not, we shouldn't be surprised because they literally follow the Nazi playbook in whatever they do. This is what they're following. That's what Project 2025 is. And for example, this corrupt, illegitimate Supreme Court that has the nerve, now Uncle Clarence Thomas has the nerve especially to hear a case. See, on January 6th, traitors. Now, these traitors stormed the Capitol based on a lie, like everything else Republicans do. They pour lies into the empty heads of their maggots and get them all wound up. And they want violence, you see? They want violence against their fellow Americans. That's all that they're doing now. You don't hear Democrats talking about violence. Oh, I know that Republicans will play things like when a Democrat says, we got to fight, we got to fight for our democracy. No one's calling for to put on a Glock. No one's calling to drag people and throw them off bridges. No one's talking about Second Amendment remedies, right? Except the Republicans. Because they're not happy unless Americans are dying. And in the meantime, they want Americans to kill each other. But it'll be the Republicans. The Republicans cannot stand their fellow Americans. That's why I'm so sick of them. And their freaking patriot bullshit. They're not patriots. You cannot call yourself a patriot and try to overthrow democracy and hate everybody in your country. That's not patriotic. I'm sorry. I don't care how many flags you fly, how many made in China flags, oversized flags. Well, they're flying the oversized Trump flag. Take your damn Führer, your dim leader, and get the fuck out already. Why don't you just get the F out? There are so many other places that you're suited for, that you will be more comfortable in. Republicans, for real. Go to Russia. Go to Hungary. I'm sure Kim Jong-un will find room for you. He'd love that. They love Americans coming over there and defecting. Oh, yeah, because they become, big. Just like Trump gave Kim Jong-un that propaganda coup. Could you imagine? He would open his arms and welcome the whole maggot, goddamn half, whatever, 1/3 of the country, 35%. But just go Galt. What are you waiting for? My whole life I've been hearing them talking about going Galt. Why don't you go? Go Galt. This democracy thing is way over your heads. You can't stand it. You don't. You never wanted to function in a free democratic society, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of having to compromise with these racists and traitors, and they're traitors. They're effing traitors who can't deal with it. They can't deal. Just like when in the Civil War, right? Well, let's play this con man's history lesson. Just like, remember he gave us a history lesson about the revolutionary generals who took over the airports.
Continental Army suffered a bitter winter.
Oh, it's very low.
Found glory across the
they
waters
found glory. Oh, he's
seized
such a
from Cornwallis.
Cornwallis.
Our army manned the air.
He's reading the teleprompter. Remember the teleprompter? How Republicans were so against teleprompters. He took over the airports. He did everything he needed to do. Tell us, Trump, give us your elevator speech about Cornwallis. Who's Cornwallis? He wouldn't know. Cornwallis from goddamn cornbread. What an absolute disgusting disgrace. Now, tell me, I'm sure you probably saw the Trump's Gettysburg history lesson, his Gettysburg address. Now, imagine, if you will, Joe Biden saying anything near that, anything in the ballpark of what Trump said. Oh, Gettysburg, wow. What a battle. So vicious, so beautiful.
And it's been a very rough period of time. I'll tell you what, for this country, I don't think our country has ever been so low.
Yes,
but we're going to
change. That's the other thing.
It's where
with the maggots, they hate this country. Oh, it's so low. It's the worst. It's such a crap country. Everything sucks here, according to them. The whole world. It's great in Russia. Go. Why don't you go? You hate this country. You're always putting it down. They hate the military. The military's so woke because General Milley read a couple of books. He's not a moron like they are. That's what they want. They want moronic automatons. I can't say the word. I have to. You know what I'm saying. They want little bots. I can't talk. I'm not like Trump, but I can't say that word for some reason. I have some problems with some words. But that's all they want. They want people to blindly follow them. over a cliff.
So got to drain the swamp.
Yeah, we got to drain it. Meaning, when they say drain the swamp, they mean take out anything that stands in their way, that stands in the way of autocracy. Everything that stopped Trump from overthrowing the country, from destroying the government that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us, that's what has to go in the maggot worldview. That's the swamp. Anything that stops Trump from getting his lamprey lips around the federal treasury again, from escaping his life of crime. Escaping the consequences for his life of crime. That's what they mean by drain the swamp. Anybody that isn't racist like them. Anything that stands in the way of them simply being racist. And that's what they mean by draining the swamp. You know, they want no consequences, like little babies, like little brats. They want to be as filthy, stupid, ugly, childish as they are. Let me read that out. Automatons. Yes, automatons. It's just hard to come out of my mouth, Kathy. Automatons. Automatons. Yes.
The double swamp. Pennsylvania is where our founding fathers declared American independence. So much history.
So much.
I mean, you have so much history here. Just think of it.
Like what?
It's where the Army weathered its brutal winter. We're sort of weathering it right now, but I don't think.
No, we're weathering it right now. The Army weathered the brutal winter. We're sort of weathering it. Yeah. I love when he gets off the cuff here, right? Yeah, we're like weathering it right now. Yeah. I wish, oh my God. Are you weathering it like that now? Not really. Oh no, they had it worse. Oh, they had it worse. Yeah, you're keeping it real, Trump. Look at all these white faces behind him, too. Oh, yeah. How come they didn't get any black people to stand behind him this time? Oh, and you see this sign here? Anytime, anywhere, any place. The new thing, this is another thing that Republicans do. They're always like, debate me. Debate me. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene, Perjury Trader Greene. She's always trying to get AOC to debate her. Debate me. Yeah, like, why? Why? I might as well debate a horse's ass. Debate me. About what? Your bullshit? You gonna tell me that another 40 years is gonna start trickling? You're gonna tell us all about the wonders of deregulation and tax cuts for the 1%? While you cut people's lifelines? Is that it? I'm so sick. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Debate me. Debate him? Please.
Much worse.
Why would he debate? Here's the other thing. You know what? It's enough. This is a criminal out on parole. Remember that. He is. He's not on parole. He's out on bail. What should I say? Not parole, bail. This is a con man criminal out on bail. So, yeah, our president, the president of the United States, is going to debate the con man crook out on bail. What's he going to say? Oh, like nobody's ever seen.
The Army weathered its brutal winter at Valley Forge, where General George Washington led his men on a daring...
Oh, yeah, like George Washington? What would George Washington say? He's spinning in his grave. George Washington hates Trump. Yeah, I swear, I talked to him. I'm like the Long Island medium, or whatever the hell that lady's name is. What do you think? George Washington hates Trump. He hates George Washington. If because here's the truth, guys, and we know. I only speaks me's the truth. If this were the time of the revolution, Trump and all of these maggots behind him who love to dress up with tricorner hats and whatnot, they would be the loyalists. They are the loyalists who want to install another monarchy, another intergenerational aristocracy. They hate democracy. They hate it. They want this con man. They talk about it openly. We need a strong man. We need a dictator for a day, wink, wink. That doesn't offend them at all. That doesn't alarm them that this asshole says he wants to be a dictator. They say, we need a strong man. We need a dictator. These are the people that want to drag us back. They want to destroy the American Republic, all while waving their big flags, just like the Confederates. I'm so sick of it. And every place in American history, and every time that we've had to compromise with these traitors, we've always had to we had this conservative albatross around our necks, always dragging us back anytime we made any progress. And then they glom on to that, and they take it as if it's their own. The way that they pretend to be all for Social Security. Oh, we want to rescue Social Security. Rescue it from them. We got to rescue it from them. Social Security is not a problem. The only problem Social Security has is Republicans having and their benefactors and their intergenerational aristocracy benefactors having their greed-centered eyeballs on it. Medicaid, Medicare, the only problems we have with these programs is Republicans coming in and undermining it. That like the post office. Like the only problem we have with the post office is Republicans undermining it. Putting that Louis DeJoy in there. I don't know why he's still in there, for God's sakes. He sucks. And this is what Republicans do. They get their hooks into our functioning society, and they make it worse. Anytime we try to make society better, that's all we're trying to do is live together under a democratic republic. I'm sorry you can't function in that kind of society, Republicans. I'm so sorry that you're too racist to give a shit about your fellow American unless he looks or she looks exactly like you. And is exactly you. Thinks like you, talks like you, has the same sky spook as you. I'm very sorry you lack the fundamental maturity to simply, mature, evolve. That doesn't mean you get to overthrow the country and reshape it in your devolved image. I mean, all throughout our history, from the beginning, when they talk about the Civil War, they're still calling for civil war. We've had to endure. We've never even, finished really the Civil War, since they've never let go of their lost cause, and here we are again, and that's solely because, unfortunately, they never, the compromise, another compromise that allowed the Reconstruction troops, that pulled the Reconstruction troops out of the South and let the same traitors and racists who rammed the South back into their positions of power And we've talked about it on the show before. The worst thing that Grant did was let Lee go home. And all of them. Lee, especially, they should have been executed. I'm sorry. He should have been executed. And the South, all the traitors, they should have had something coming to them. And it wasn't just go home and be good boys now. This is what we've been dealing with. And then what happened? How did the South thank the graciousness of the victors? They thanked us, the Union, by assassinating Abraham Lincoln. That's how they thanked us, because they had no desire to ever fall in line with this constitutionally limited democratic republic, especially a multiracial one. And then our fellow Americans had to endure the 100 years and more of domestic terrorism. The South under Jim Crow. Just imagine. It's such a disgrace when you think about how in World War II, how black soldiers wore this uniform and went and fought the same uniform and fought fascism, but had to come home and abide by Jim Crow still. Well, it's also a disgrace how the Nazis looked to America's Jim Crow laws for inspiration. But that's the history that the maggots don't want America to ever reconcile with, to ever learn. And that's why when I was listening to this dullard talk about Gettysburg, now he is the worst, because Trump is and the rest of them, they're all morons, of course, but because they're willfully ignorant. Some of them are ignorant, but a lot of them are just simply willfully ignorant. Like Trump. I'm sure he's a narcissist, a sociopath, but the fact that he's always bragging how smart he is, he's got a very big brain, he went to the best schools, and that makes it even worse. He went to the best schools, but he never learned a thing because he always had somebody else take his tests, do his work for him. See, it was all about getting the piece of paper, getting the accolade, but never earning it. That's who they are. That's who he is. Wait, I got something in my eye. Got an eyelash. But that's, it doesn't matter. I mean, he cheats himself, of course, but that's who they are. Oh, look at me. He wants all the trophy, but participation trophy. But if you went to the best schools and you still sound like this, you still are this stupid, you still don't know where to put the apostrophe on Y-O-U. You don't know which your to use when you're writing out your all caps diatribes. Then you're really a lost cause. Talk about a lost cause. But I'm just so tired of constantly having to looking at the history of this country, and we've been held back by this conservative albatross around our national necks, compromising with these people as if they're sincere partners, and they're not. Like, you sent Lee home. He'll just go home. He was flabbergasted that he was simply allowed to go home after being a traitor, taking up arms against his fellow Americans. 500,000 Americans in their cold, early graves because these scumbags wanted to own other human beings. And then what's the consequence? Oh, it's just a family fight. It would be wonderful if they really wanted to learn anything. if they were really ever interested in this thing we're trying to do, it's too over their heads. They don't want to have a multiracial liberal democracy. Can we get it through our thick heads already? And they're welcome to come along, but they're not welcome to overthrow the government that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us. They don't get to do that. You don't get to do it. You don't get to have your Project 2025 all wrapped up in the flag while you strip America of every right. So you can what? Ultimately, what? Steal. Step on our necks. So the rich can have more money and power, and we will have less to do anything about it. Less money, less power, less voice. And it's happening. This whenever Republicans get anywhere in any way in charge, they come after. They talk, give me a break. Free speech? You're only free to speak in their paradigm, in much as you're free to exist in the world that they allow you to exist in the walls of the strict confines of their dictates. That's it. Then you're free. But if you're anything else, if you don't agree, if you want to be something other than what they want you to be, then they got something for you, and it's not a participation trophy.
Mission across the Delaware, and where our Union was saved by the immortal heroes at Gettysburg. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable. It was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch.
And to watch.
And the statement of Robert E. Lee, who's no longer in favor.
Could you imagine that? Robert E. Lee, the statement of Robert E. Lee, who's no longer in favor. Can you imagine a traitor no longer being in favor? How dare they? How dare these woke mob of wokeness put their wokeness on us. Gettysburg, oh Gettysburg. Now imagine Joe Biden speaking like this. Now these assholes are like, oh, and of course Trump is always saying things like, but he can't even put two sentences together. Oh yeah?
Notice that? No longer in favor. Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill,
me boys.
They were fighting uphill. He said, wow. That was a big mistake.
Wow. He said, wow. Never fight uphill, me boys. And don't come for my lucky charms, me boys.
Lost his great general. And
they
were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys. But it was too late.
It was too late.
And this is the state where generations of tough, strong Pennsylvania miners, factory workers, and steel workers
that Republicans hate. You know, tough miners, factory workers, steel workers, all union, right? The union, the people that banded together to create a union so they can have living wages and decent working conditions, unlike fighting against people like him. You know, succubuses. Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight up. Who is Robert E. Lee? I didn't know he was Irish, me boys. Never fight uphill, me boys.
Forged the greatest nation in the history of the world.
Really?
But now,
if you believe that, Trump, why are you trying to destroy this greatest nation? See, it's the greatest nation. That's what's so confusing. That's it's the greatest nation, but
And it's been a very rough period of time. I'll tell you what, for this country, it's never had. I don't think our country has ever been so low.
yeah.
But we're going to
sucks.
change it. We're going to get
It
numbers like
sucks.
nobody's ever seen. I think we're going to swamp them. And this is a
Swamp 'em. Womp 'em and swamp 'em.
great nation again.
Great. We're going to make it great by making everybody hate. Just making everybody hate. Never fight uphill, me boys.
Like no one has ever fought before. 2024 is our final battle. That is our
I
final
hope
battle.
it's your final battle.
We are either going to have a great nation again, or we're going to have a
Yes.
failed
We're going to have a
nation.
failed
Will you-
nation that is the best economy in the whole world, with the lowest unemployment rate, me boys. Never fight uphill, me boys. What a great man. Did you ever notice, like nobody's ever seen, Lee is out of favor, me boys? Why? Why would they put Lee? He said, never fight uphill, but they were fighting uphill. It was a big mistake, me boys. This guy wants to be the president, the so-called president, despite receiving fewer votes. Me boys. He doesn't know shit. He is the most ignorant dullard that ever squatted in the White House despite receiving fewer votes. He's an embarrassment. You know, I love how the Republicans are like, we'll be respected in the world again. Really? With this asshole? This is a joke. If they had any integrity, if they had any pride, they had any love for this country, they would be embarrassed. They should be embarrassed, but I don't understand why they're not embarrassed, but is that how power hungry and craven and self-seeking and self-serving they are? How stupid, how vile, me boys, they are? Because really, think about this idiot, you want to put him in the White House again. And you tell me how, it's so embarrassing. Joe Biden, he can't put two sentences together. Well, he sure, for somebody who can't put two sentences together, he sure wiped the floor with you assholes during the State of the Union. But they want us to all forget. But this is what they have to do. They know that they know their maggots are only consuming one news, whatever. They're consuming propaganda. They're not listening to the actual news. And then we have the corporate media that is really not helping too much. They're playing it like it's a normal election. And then we have some undercover Republicans in there with their bullshit. And they're acting like it's some normal, just two choices that a voter may make. Both equally, some, whatever. Oh, I like the way he tells it like it is. Really? Is this it? Is this him telling it like it is?
2024 is our final battle. That is our final battle. We are either going to have a great nation again, or we're going to have a failed nation. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government.
All right.
We will drive out the globalists. We will cast...
He pretends to be... He's a man of peace. For real. This is what and this is their excuse. They're saying they're all about peace, but they're really about, control. And Trump will say whatever. This is the other thing that annoys me about corporate media. Not only do they pretend that at times, of course, then you'll get the pundits later at night, and they kind of make up for what goes on during the day, but it's just ridiculous. Then it's as if they're just two normal candidates having an election, but Wait, hold on a second. This is not.
Out the communist, Marxist, and
The
fascist.
communist, the Marxist, the fascist, the whatever. It's there's no truth anymore. It's simply, telling it like it is, meaning whatever comes to your mind. And that's the thing about the corporate media, when not only playing it as if it's a normal election, but also taking time to discuss what Trump says, as if he has legitimate points and a legitimate stance, as if he has any beliefs, as if he has an agenda, a policy agenda. Well, Trump, you used to be pro-choice, now you're pro-birth. What changed? Well, yes, I've evolved on abortion. I used to believe that you believe nothing. He believes and says whatever he thinks he needs to believe and say, depending on who he's talking to. And I'm sick of, the corporate media pretending otherwise. Oh, Trump came out with a statement today, and now he says, and then they discuss it. Fucking what? What? The only discussion should be, this is ridiculous. This man has no scruples, like he has no values. He's got no values. He has no policy. The Republican Party doesn't have any policies. That's why they had no platform at the last two conventions, right? They didn't have a platform. The first time they ran, this dullard, and then the second time they had no platform again. It was just Trump. What was that? Kimberly Gurgall? Make America the best is yet to come. That's their platform. It's screaming and yelling. It's bullshit. It's black people are bad and scary. That's the platform. It's kill your fellow American, hurt your fellow American, because they're coming to get you, right? That's it. That's why we live in the country where kids ring somebody's bell, and they ring the wrong bell. I'm lost. Can you help me? And some fucking asshole shoots them through the door. That's because of them. They've been telling them everyone's going to kill them. Everyone's out to get them. Then they have that asshole who kids are going to a party and they use the guy's driveway to turn around, and the asshole is shooting at them from the porch, and he kills a girl. Thanks, Republicans. Thanks. And he was another Republican, by the way. He was another Trumpanzee. Because they are sick, and I'm sorry, and I wish I was wrong. I really do. I want them to be normal. I'd like to live in a country where, I wasn't surrounded by morons who are violent, who are, and also tediously childish at the same time. That's a very dangerous combination. They need their big daddy. That's all it's about. Save us, Daddy, from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place. Black people don't know their place. That's why they have to pretend that, it's so violent. Everything's so violent. Black people are violent. That's Black Lives Matter. It was a violent movement that burned down cities. If you watch the propaganda, right-wing propaganda, that's what you'll hear. It's bullshit, though. Show me the burnt down cities. All I saw were right wingers going in there, like breaking windows, cops breaking windows, trying to start something. Right? Proud pricks shooting into police stations, going, "Justice for George Floyd," trying to start bullshit. It's unbelievable. And then you hear, Carrie Lake You got to put on a Glock, strap on. Everybody's strapping on a Glock. Why don't you just shut your holes and get the fuck out already? If you don't like democracy. I know you like to pretend, but we see your game. They like to pretend, oh, it's everybody stealing from us. No one's stealing from you, bubby. You got nothing to offer. You're losing. You don't like democracy, then get out. You don't like serving the people. You're not altruistic. If they were in any way, shape, or form altruistic, if they were in government to help people, they wouldn't be spreading these lies. They wouldn't be inciting people to violence. They wouldn't be turning these idiots into their shock troops that storm the Capitol. They would be trying to help them. You know, there's nothing worse than robbing people of their limited lifespan by putting them in these positions where they're going to get arrested for nothing, for stupidity, for some frickin' con man's, his greedy ambitions. He wants to impress Putin. How's he ever going to look Putin in the zipper? These pigs, excuse me, no offense to pigs who are very good creatures. Sorry.
Yes. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media.
Really,
we will drain the
fake
swamp.
news. Who hates our country? Except, who hates our country? Except somebody that is lying about the country. Lying, saying the country sucks. Oh, crime is up the wazoo. Crime's up the wazoo. Elections are fraudulent. Everything they talk about, everything they say is a lie. Including who hates the country. Oh, we hate the country? The ones who are capable of functioning in it? The ones who can live in a multiracial democracy? The ones who abide by the rule of law? The ones who are capable of sitting on a jury and not being like, is that guy a Republican or a Democrat Party? Is that the Democrat Party? So sick of them. Is this the way it is? That you can't sit on a jury? If you're on a jury and the defendant is a Republican, you can't be on a jury if you're a Democrat? That's bullshit. But you better believe it that the Republicans, the shoe on the other foot is the fact that they'll let their fellow Republican get away with anything. And that is right out of the Nazi playbook, by the way. And this is the other thing I want to talk about is that, you know, these maggots, the Supreme Court, of course, putting their big illegitimate noses into the January 6th. Wait, hold on. I'll play more of this while I can get this.
We will liberate our country from these tyrants and villains once and for all. They are tyrants.
They are tyrants.
Villains, and they hate our country.
Right. Keep
like
saying it.
Like those patriots before us, we will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield.
You're not a patriot.
We will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never, ever, ever, ever back down.
Right.
With your support, we will go on to victory, the likes of which no one has ever seen. And we will evict crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, from the White House on November 5th, 2024. And that date will go down as the most important day in American history. I believe that because we're ready to be a failed nation. We're a failed nation right now.
Yeah, you hate this country,
The great silent majority is rising like never before. And under our
Like no
leadership,
one's
the
ever
forgotten
seen.
man and woman
Right.
will
And
be
what they mean
forgotten
is
no longer. It wasn't
racist.
forgotten 4 years ago, I can tell you
No,
that.
I could tell you that. You could be
We
as
are one
racist as you
movement,
wanted
one
to
people,
be.
one family, and
I
one
just
glorious
laughed.
nation under God, and together
Right.
we will make America
America,
powerful again. We will
By
make
making it
America
weak.
wealthy again. We will make America strong again.
Strong by making
We
it
will
weak,
make
little whiny bitch.
America proud again. We will make America safe again.
Oh, God.
And we
Oh, my God. Okay, I'm sorry. That is horrible. That was a horrible 2 minutes you'll never get back, I know. I apologize for that. It's like, it is enough to make you... well, for me, it raises my blood pressure. So I could feel my blood pressure rising listening to that asshole. But what's worse is the idiots who cheer him, you know? That's what gets me even more irritated, is listening to them. We will make America respected again? Really? America is respected now because you're gone. And America will be more respected when you're in jail for trying to overthrow this country, this government. America gained more respect in the world by voting you out and voting out the morons. But, you know, I mean, never before, though. See, we are in treacherous waters at this time because we've had morons and horrible, you know, wannabe dictators before, but we've never had one of the two major political parties basically, you know, in league with him, in league with it. It's pretty scary. And all right, let me see, hold on. Here's the Supreme Court. This is what pisses me off. You know, Uncle Clarence and his insurrectionist wife, Ginny Thomas, who was involved in the insurrection. There is no... See, if this were not... okay, how do I put this? If this court was legitimate, Uncle Clarence would recuse himself from every single case involving January 6th because his wife is an insurrectionist. Ginny Thomas was actively involved in the efforts to overthrow the result of the 2020 election. She's a cuckoo. She's in the cult. Not so ironically, she used to be she was in a cult, and then she got out of a cult when she was younger, and she became an anti-cult advocate, funny enough, but I suppose that she doesn't even realize she's in a cult again. Her weak mind put her in this cult again, this cult of morons, and she sent numerous texts to then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows urging him to push the election fraud claims. Okay? She urged him to keep Donald Trump in power even though he lost the election. She attended the Stop the Steal rally near the White House on January 6th, although she did not march to the Capitol. Her involvement in the efforts to overturn the election... Wait a minute. What the fuck is that? An ad just started playing in my ear. Come on. What? Oh my God. Why? Why did that just happen? Did you hear that? There was an ad playing. Photoshop generative fill. I hope it doesn't play again. Where'd the hell that come from? I don't even know. It was, oh, I bet you it was The Hill. I must have, The Hill always does that. The Hill has ads that pop up. It's very annoying. And shit like that happens when I have the website The Hill open somewhere. Okay. So, let me see. Where was I? What else did she do? Well, legal experts have argued that Uncle Clarence should recuse himself from any cases involving January 6th or Trump's efforts to overturn the election, but he hasn't done so because that's Republicans for you. You know, being a Republican means never saying you're sorry. And now, on top of everything that they're doing to, help Trump escape consequences for his life of crime, they are injecting themselves into this January 6th insurrection case about the let me see, hold on. I closed the wrong article. About the obstructing an official proceeding. And here's some of the, I got the video. I can play it. I took it from the Joy Reid show. Don't tell anybody. It's a little squeezed, but is that working? No, it's, where's the audio? Oh crap. The audio is not on. I have to output again. Ah, boy. Hold on. 1 second. It'll be better than ever in a minute. And it'll have audio too, I betcha. Do 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 do. Ba 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 da da. Thank you for putting up with the show. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin to get some real producers in here.
There have been many violent protests that have interfered with proceedings. Has the government applied this provision to other protests in the past?
How dare
Would
you?
a sit-in that disrupts a trial or access to a federal courthouse qualify? Would a heckler in today's audience qualify?
Let's say that today, while you're arguing or Mr. Green is arguing, 5 people get up, one after the other, and they shout either keep the January 6th insurrectionists in jail or free the January 6th patriots. And as a result of this, our police officers have to remove
having the corruptly mens rea, but that's just because I'm not.
You see, free the January 6th patriots. See how he phrased that? And the fact is, there's never been a case like this because there's never been a time where a bunch of morons on based on a lie spread by their dear leader have stormed the Capitol to stop the countings of the ceremonial counting of the electoral votes. So, for them this is what the Solicitor General defends or argues.
Aware of that circumstance ever happening prior to January 6th.
So, for Uncle Clarence and the rest of the maggot on the illegitimate Supreme Court to say that this is unprecedented. This is another thing that I keep hearing in general as far as the corporate media and in the courts. This is what they keep saying, that it's unprecedented for a president to be put up on charges during an election. It's unprecedented. Well, it's unprecedented for the con man to assume that just because he announced that he wants to run to squat in the White House again despite receiving fewer votes, that he can escape the consequences for the crimes he committed to remain in office. That's unprecedented. So Yeah, it is unprecedented for this to be happening, but we've never had a more abhorrent parasite who hates this country trying to obtain power again. And we've never had this Supreme Court so corrupted and so in the pocket of billionaires. Because make no mistake, that's what this is all about. Billionaires trying to destroy this pesky government of ours because it's the only entity large enough and strong enough to stand in the way of them turning us into nothing but hosts from which to suck profit and discard. That's it. They're greedy, they're self-serving. This, they could only operate. I guess they're really, this is the other thing that's so annoying, is that they're such masters of the universe, but they can't seem to make a buck unless they can manipulate and have all the rules in their favor, the laws to just bent to their agenda. They can't seem to make it like the rest of us. We seem to be able to get through without, while they have their boots on our neck constantly, right? But this Supreme Court is so corrupted, and something has to be done about it, frankly. The fact that Uncle Clarence is so brazenly being kept as a pet of these billionaires is one thing, but to not even care about the appearance of impropriety by the mere fact that his wife is an insurrectionist involved in the insurrection, and he doesn't have any qualms about sitting in judgment of anything involving the insurrection. It's unbelievable. But this Supreme Court is just another case in point. It is illegitimate, like the courts in Nazi Germany. This is part of the, I know before this Supreme Court was fully corrupted through Moscow, Mitch McConnell, and Traitor Trump. This has been a long process and a project of the billionaire class, like the Federalist Society. Because it doesn't matter if the laws are deemed unconstitutional, whatever the hell that they do to fix the facts around the policy. It doesn't matter what happens out here in the real world. If once it gets to court, it gets to be nullified. If we pass laws and they get to say, well, that's unconstitutional, and here's why, and then they go pick and cherry pick, it was just like any clever old priest that used to justify slavery by picking and choosing whatever they want out of the Bible. It's the same thing. They apply that tactic to the law. They fix the facts around the policy. And that is all that they do. And for them to take these cases, to step in to the January 6th insurrection and basically try to nullify the laws that, or any of the consequences that people are facing. There are people in jail right now because of the very law that these illegitimate Supreme Court traitors, these unfit, unqualified, and also these, these people, they have no honor. They're about to, if they rule in the way that it seems that they're heading, that some of these traitors are going to come flying back out of the belfry, back on the streets. And this is what happened in Nazi Germany. Hold on a second. I had it listed here. Wait a minute. Oh, I have other things. Jesus Christ, where is it? Here we go. So yes, the Nazi, and this is what I've been talking about all along about the courts. This is the problem that I wish, instead of the corporate media talking about how, both sides are the same or up in the polls, down in the polls, they would do stories on how the Nazis, for example, also systematically corrupted the German legal system as they rose to power. That's why we should be very, very concerned, because they're following that playbook. From the very beginning, the Nazis, listen to this, the Nazis exploited weaknesses in the Weimar Republic's judicial system to advance their agenda. It didn't happen overnight. Even before they took power. In 1933, right-wing extremists like the Schwarzreich were able to carry out, I don't know if I said that correctly, but they were able to carry out extrajudicial vehemic trials, and they were murders, basically. And they faced absolutely no consequences because the courts treated these far-right offenders with leniency. So they would murder communists, social democrats, their opposition, and they would get to their courts, this was still in the Weimar Republic, and they would get to court, and they would be thrown out, or whatever would happen, they would get a slap on the wrist. And then they would conversely, by the way, they would hand down harsh sentences to the left-wingers. Anyone who opposed the Nazis. Does this sound in any way familiar? And basically, it was tacit approval of fascist and anti-Semitic violence, of course, but violence against the opposing forces of Nazism. And that's what the Supreme Court is doing, by the way. That's what Judge Cannon is doing, by the way. It didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't all the courts. But this is how they nullified and corrupted. Well, they nullified any of the crimes that the Nazis committed, and thereby gave them tacit approval to continue, to escalate. And what do you think this is doing? With these January 6th scumbags who stormed the Capitol, these traitors who beat cops, who tried to overthrow the election. What do you think they would have done to Nancy Pelosi? What do you think they would have done if they caught Mike Pence or anybody else who was, elected through our system of democracy, of democratic republic government? And the Republicans, by doing this, by the Supreme Court, is going to say that, this is null and void, and letting these bats out of the belfry then? And then, of course, when the Nazis came to power, officially, they quickly set about dismantling, demolishing the existing legal system. That's what is happening. And creating a new one in their own image. What do you think is going to happen here, if they have any chance? Stripping people of their rights. Of course, the Nazis used the legal system to strip Jews of their rights. What do you think the Republicans are doing in different jurisdictions by, like, for example, Kyle Rittenhouse? He's able to kill 2 people and permanently maim another person and walk out, thanks to the judge putting his thumb on the scale through the entire trial. It's the same thing that happened in Nazi Germany. And what do you think is happening here in the Supreme Court when they're gonna hear whether Trump has full immunity, like no other president in the entire history of the country, like no other president ever had. And he can, they when there was no reason for them to hear this case, as every legal scholar says, it's a no-brainer. It's a slam dunk. And they've also, in different jurisdictions, as I was listening to Tom Hartman today, he mentioned it, in Tennessee, I think it is, in 3 states, the Supreme Court, let's see, they, first of all, so this is what they did. Hold on a second. They make new rules, basically, because the Supreme Court has denied hearing this case. Wait, my screen is frozen. So basically, this Court of Appeals thing, I'm not explaining it correctly because I wasn't expecting to talk about it, so I didn't have it ready. But the Supreme Court, let me write this down. I'll look it up. Supreme Court refuses to hear the case concerning whether the organizer of a protest is responsible for the behavior of every attendee of the protest. So what happened was a protester, during a protest, a protester threw a rock and hit a cop in the back of the head, or hit the cop in the head or something. And this case went to court, and what they're trying to do is put a chilling effect on all protests in these states, because according to the Supreme Court now in these 3 states, if you have a protest, if you organize a protest and somebody behaves badly at the protest, then you're responsible. The person who organized the protest is responsible, which is really outrageous, frankly. How are you supposed to know or be responsible for everyone's behavior? So if in that logic, let's say Ginny Thomas, well, since she was there at January 6th, she should, well, I guess Trump, since he organized the January 6th protest, he should be held responsible. But of course, well, not the protest, the insurrection, excuse me, wrong. Yeah, the Supreme Court declined to hear the case of McKesson v. Doe, which concerned whether the organizer of a protest can be held liable for the actions of an unidentified individual who committed an illegal act during the protest. So, in summary, the Supreme Court declined to hear the case, but meaning the lower court's ruling it stands. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of the police officer accepting the theory that the protest organizers can be held liable for the unlawful acts committed by unidentified protesters they did not control. You see? Because that's pretty scary. That's authoritarianism. And that's right. BB delay on the chat, and it would sure encourage provocateurs. Of course. You organize a protest. It's like the guy who broke the windows in the auto shop. That was a cop, it ended up. And what would stop that from happening all the time? Of course, it would not. Nothing would stop them. Civil rights group warned that the Fifth Circuit's ruling could have a chilling effect on the right to protest, and that's the point. It's unbelievable, but that's what Republicans do. And this is what the Nazis did, what the Republicans are doing when they corrupt the courts. It's all about control, about chilling democracy. Who said that? Now that I'm thinking about it, the one who said that they wanted to, Grover Norquist. It's about chilling democracy, but also about shrinking democracy to the size where you can drown it in a bathtub. And that's Republicans for you. Now, think about that. I always remember, we've talked about it before, just even say that. You want to shrink. Oh no, he wanted to shrink government. But really, when the Republicans say that they hate government, they want to take government and shrink it so they can drown it in a bathtub, what they mean is they hate democracy. That's it. Because what is government? What government are they talking about? The government that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us? We're the government. We the people. What they're doing is making sure that we the people are further and further away from our government. And even if that means protesting a policy of the government, well, good luck with that now. In 3 states, all these Republican states, right? They love America. They're such patriots, everyone. Except they hate everybody in the country. They hate the government the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us. They hate just about everything about the country. It sucks, right? Unless they can drown it in the bathtub, it sucks. Wait, hold on a second. Beep, boop, boo, doo, boop. Yeah, they're following the Nazi. Oh, yeah. So the other thing about Trump's, his history lesson about Gettysburg, he forgets, of course. See, this is what the Republicans want us to turn into. This moronic, stupid 7th grade failed book report. That's why they hate history. They don't like, DEI. They want us all to sound like dullards, like them. Because who could stand that? Could you imagine? Now, the other thing, if you think about it, if Joe Biden said anything near that, what do you think Republicans would say? Oh, he's lost it. He's got dementia. He's losing it. You see. But they allow that. That barely makes a blip, except for the comedy shows, right? We expect that from the con man now. That's supposed to be normal now. But there's a deeper history of Gettysburg that the Republicans, they don't want us to talk about, of course, right? How the South, how the Confederates, the traitors marched into Pennsylvania and marched into the North and started kidnapping black people. It didn't matter if they were free, if they were born free, if they lived free in the North. They were never enslaved, ever. But they kidnapped a whole bunch of just black people. Every black person they happened to, who was unfortunate enough to run into them, were kidnapped until the black people had to flee. But you don't want to hear that, me boys. Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. Lee isn't it, ever noticed that? How Lee is out of favor now. Me boys. It's so sad. I mean, that's the history of America. And, well, Republicans, they want us to have this babyish view of America, as infantile and small as they are. And they never want us to have a discussion about our real history because they want us to continue to be at each other's throats. And what they're doing when they prevent young people from learning the real history of America, I don't want anybody to go home and say, I'm an oppressor. As if that ever happened. That never happened. My young son came home and said, Mommy, I'm an oppressor. Bullshit. Of course that never happened. But, we don't want white kids to be like, I'm an oppressor, and black kids to be like, I'm oppressed. I don't know about you, but I learned history. I took some history classes, and I like history. I always did. I took some college history classes. I took some, and I liked history in high school. I never ever said I'm an oppressor when we learned about the Civil War. When I learned more about the Civil War on my own, I was never like, Mommy, am I an oppressor, Mommy? They have no, you see, that it really is an infantile way of looking at at each other too. You have no, as if you can't handle the truth, right? But these are free speech absolutists, guys, who love America. Except they hate everybody in America. Okay. Never fight uphill, me boys, though. Never fight uphill. Okay, where I'm holding, I'm trying to find this. I have so many articles. But you see, okay, here's a list of all of the autocrats Donald Trump has praised. Of course, Putin, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un, Viktor Orban, Erdogan of Turkey, Gaddafi. He actually praised Gaddafi. What did he say about him? Let me see. Oh, yeah. He said, when asked if he believed the Middle East would be better today if Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi and Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein were still in power, Republicans said 100%. It's not even a contest. He fucking hates this country. I'm sorry. I don't mean to curse, but it's getting late, right? It's past that time. Oh my God. And then here's why I say the corporate media should stop treating this moron like he has any positions. Then I guess he heard that was bad. That was something bad to say. And then he turned around and said, a little later, they asked him, well, those comments you said about Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein should still be in power. He was like, he reversed it. And then he said that he would be for his ouster. Yes. Because this is what we do in a country that needs universal health care and higher education, and we waste our time with this goddamn dullard. Entirely too much time. That's what's so sickening about living in this time, having to share the same air with this dullard. You know what I mean? Like, we have actual work to do, and we have to spend all our time focused on this con man and his world view of food goes in here. Yes, he also, of course, praised Benito Mussolini. Also, tweeting Mussolini quotes. And then when told, hey, that's a Mussolini quote. So, Jesus Christ. But he's got a lot of negative things, conversely, to say about our allies, about democratic leaders. Of course, being dismissive of NATO, suggesting that we shouldn't be in NATO, and that NATO is why Putin is doing these things. That's what he said. Yeah, we shouldn't have worn that dress. Ukraine shouldn't have worn that dress. That's true. And NATO, we just shouldn't. We should just break up and go back to the good old days of 35, 50 million dead. Back in the good old days of authoritarians, when authoritarians just tried to take over the map. Remember those good old days? He expressed shock that he didn't have more of when he became the so-called president, despite receiving fewer votes. He expressed shock that he didn't have more dictatorial type powers as president, and then he openly envied the unchecked power of Putin, Xi, and Kim Jong-un. Come on, guys. When people tell you who they are, when they show you who they are, believe them. Trump accused U.S. allies like Germany of not paying their fair share. Yeah, they're supposed to pay. No, you don't pay. You got $20? Pay up. Pay your dues, even though there's no dues. Just pay. Money. That's all he cares about. This little tiny, fragile, little tiny, grubby little con man. And of course, he's always been he's praised authoritarian leaders while being critical of democratic norms and institutions in the United States. Yeah. What did he say about Duterte in the Philippines, the one who carries out extrajudicial killings of so-called drug dealers? It's sort of like they don't necessarily are drug dealers. You don't like someone, you just whack him. He's a drug dealer, right? 7,000, supposedly 7,000 drug dealers in the Philippines. Hitler massacred. In a warped comparison, he praised Hitler. He said Hitler massacred 3 million Jews. Now there's 3 million drug addicts. I'd happily slaughter them, Duterte said. He added he wanted to finish the problem, and he has undermined the judiciary, calling experts stupid, and threatened to whack mayors who stood in the way of his tactics. This is one of Trump's heroes. He also justified the killing of journalists. That's coming. Well, it actually is here. What do I mean? We know that the Trumpanzees in his rallies, we have pictures of them wearing merchandise that say rope, tree, journalist, assembly acquired. Required. Assembly required. Who thinks like that if they love America? They're talking about the only profession that's enshrined in the Constitution as being vital for democracy. And vital, what is vital? Your vital signs. It means you're beating heart. You're alive. You need it to live. So, journalist, rope, tree, some assembly required. That's your maggot. That's your maggots for you. Unreal. Jesus Christ. Where do we live? When will it end? Legally and peacefully. Oh no. A Trump they're playing commercials on this? There was a Trump commercial? Play, Dave, on the chat. Jesus. I'm sorry. I don't control the commercials, damn it. Listen, guys, listen. Let's hang it up for the night. And then we'll come back on Friday. I got more show. More things to talk about. What do you think? What do you think? What was the other thing on my list now? Yeah, I think I covered it. But I wanted to talk about how everything sucks on the Republicans. But maybe we'll do that on Friday. And I also have another story about another Republican lying about his war service. You know, Republicans they like to lie about themselves. It's like George Santos. There's many others. They pretend to be things they're not. Because they're like Trump. You know, he says he's got a very big a brain. He went to the best schools, but still doesn't know Y-O-U-R or Y-O-U''re. But, yeah. We got more show to do, and, I don't know. I'm a little tired. What do you think? You can't make it Friday. It's our last rehearsal before our first gig on Sunday, Haiku says. Okay, Haiku. I'm sorry. But thank you for telling me. You are excused. What instrument do you play? Or do you sing? Did I miss your chat when you said that? And do you want us to plug? Why don't you put it down here? I know. Playday says, why didn't you get a letter for jury duty? I wish. I really wish. Oh my God. I would enjoy that. But I'm sure I'd be dismissed immediately. Even though I would love to sit there and say, yeah, I hate him. He's a danger to America. He's a wannabe dictator with a fake university, a tax cheating, draft dodging, America hating con man, and I hope he goes to jail. So I think, I should peace out of here. Even though the other thing I would say there was that, yes, I could be fair to him, even though I hate him. I love this country. Oh, you play the drums. That's so cool. Haiku. That's awesome. It's good stress relief. But it's true. I would say, yes, I hate him with the heat of 1,000 burning suns, like any patriot would. But I would be able to be fair to him. Let me hear the evidence. If he's innocent, he's innocent. I will deem him innocent, of course. I'm not and I'm an American. I believe in our system of government. I'm not looking to simply throw the book at him because he's in a different political party. If he's innocent, he should be judged, adjudicated innocent by a jury of his peers. Me thinking and knowing and watching him try to dismantle this government and turn a mob of morons against the Capitol, and him to continue to spread the big lie and act like a wannabe dictator and promise to be a dictator for a day. That has nothing to do with this. But, you know, I can't stand him for that. I don't like him as a person because I don't like sociopaths and narcissists. But if he, you know, we're looking at the evidence. I don't know. That's the way it's supposed to work. It shouldn't matter. And that's why I can't stand when the corporate media falls for it. This is what happens. They fall for it. They go along with it. And they don't point it out. I point it out. Why can't they say, you know, it shouldn't matter. Why should they report the Obama appointed judge? Right? What does that have to do with anything? Except it does now, thanks to the Republicans who have so corrupted this government that they shove unqualified flunkies onto the court. Because their only qualification, the only thing that matters is, are they loyal to the destruction of democracy? Are they self-serving America, kiss up, kick down, oligarchy fans who want to do everything in their power to enrich the rich and turn the working class into the more malleable working poor and separate people from their government so they can't do a goddamn thing about it. Yes. I know. Poor Errol. OAN and News MaxiPad. Yes, that's pretty much it. Are expressing sympathy for Trump. I mean, I would love to, I don't know, see that con man. And of course, they're all saying, of course he's falling asleep. Of course he is. Everything he talks about, everything he says is either, and all Republicans, it's either a projection or a confession. When he calls him Sleepy Joe, he's sleepy. He's sleepy. He's up all night tweeting and talking about, oh, poor me. And maybe he can't get a hold of his Adderall. Oh, and then the other thing, one last thing. Well, I keep talking about this, but he's another thing, a confession, a projection, of course. He made some weird comment about Joe Biden, saying that Joe Biden wears diapers. You know that's a confession. He wears diapers. He must have heard that it's out somewhere. We know this. This has been out for a long time. The people that worked on The Apprentice they say he had a nickname among the crew, behind his back, of course. They called him Diaper Don. And he wore diapers because he blown out his colon, his digestive tract, because of his years of Adderall abuse. Anybody find that hard to believe? I'm trying to find that thing, though. Let me see. I can't find it. I thought I had it right here. Trump falsely claims crime is going up despite its steep drop. Oh, yeah, here we go. He said, it's been soiled. Trump bizarrely suggests that Biden has shit. Oh, no, this is what he said. Yeah. That he has, this is what Trump said. You know, your dear leader, Republicans, congratulations. He said that he shit on the Oval Office desk. This is your hero, Republicans. They're so disgusting. What disgusting people these people are, that they so debase us as a people. During his billionaire fundraiser, he told the oligarchs, the wannabe oligarchs and oligarchs, I guess, this country, the widest income gap between rich and poor. He said that while in between his demonizing immigrants, referring to them in derogatory terms, and making bleak statements about other countries, different countries, shithole countries, he's promised more tax cuts for the billionaires who already pay like an 8% tax rate over our 35. Those who work for a living, we have to pay 35%. They pay about 8%, and it's getting less if Trump gets in office. He wants to give them more, enrich the rich, make the working class, the working poor. And he also gave apocalyptic warnings, as he always does, about how everything's going to go to hell. And believe it or not, this was all met with laughter from the audience, who should be ashamed of themselves, but they don't have any shame. Look at where they are. Look at who they're listening to. This is the guy that suggested that Americans inject disinfectant into their into their veins and their brains, declaring people believe that. Listen to this. He also said, people believe he's treated worse than Abraham Lincoln. This fucking dog. I love dogs. Well, I don't even know. We decided he was the scum on the cancer on the scum. Yes. He said that wind turbines are killing whales. This was the speech. And no cameras were allowed, so I guess he thought he could really let it roll. And then went on about him not being able to flush toilets again. I don't know what he's putting into the toilet, but it ain't pretty. He says he can't flush the toilet. He has to flush 10 to 15 times. Well, it's you, Trump. It's you. Because you're ugly on the inside, too. And it comes, as we know, you're horrible. And it's coming out. You don't have a very good diet. And what else? He said that he suggested to this group of billionaires that Joe Biden had literally, Trump's words, the former so-called president, despite receiving fewer votes, Trump had shit on a piece of White House furniture. That Joe Biden had shit on this furniture. You know why, guys? Because he did that. He did that. You better believe it. He said, the Resolute desk is beautiful. Ronald Reagan used it. Others used it. And he's using it, and I might not use it next time. It's been soiled. And I mean that literally, which is sad. Oh my God. Which is so sad. And then the audience laughed, of course. Because they're horrible. They're all horrible people. Yes. Oh, and then it said the person who witnessed the remarks told the Times that the guests laughed and that Trump's remarks were interrupted with, as the former president saying that Mr. Biden had defecated on the desk. Jeez. Well, the Trump family has a very strange history when it comes to bowel movements. In her book, Confidence Man, Maggie Haberman reported that while living at the White House, Trump would invite visitors to check out his bathroom and then brag that he had remodeled it, including the toilet, after Barack Obama moved out because he didn't want to use the same toilet as Obama. I wonder why. Why? Why would that be? Isn't that weird? Can you think of one thing that would make Trump not want to use the same toilet as Barack Obama as he once used? I wonder. In the last week of Trump's presidency, the Washington Post reported that the Secret Service agents assigned to protect Ivanka and the $2 billion kid, the one who was BFFs with Mohammed bin Bonesaw, the Secret Service were forced to rent a nearby studio so they could have access to a toilet because the couple did not allow them to use one of their 6 toilets in their home. The rental cost the government $3,000 a month, but what do they care? They don't want no stinky Secret Service, no working class ass on their golden shitter. One of their 6 golden shitters. That's where they keep their classified documents. In addition to making his truly weird and almost certainly untrue claim, untrue. Trump used the Palm Beach dinner to demonize immigrants, saying these are people coming from prisons and jails, like you'll be going. Con man. They're coming from unbelievable places, countries that are a disaster. Oh, God, make it stop. Why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here? That's why. Well, people from Norway, he said, we prefer people from Norway, Trump told his dinner guests. Well, nobody from Norway wants to come here. I wish Republicans would want people from Norway to come here. Maybe they'd stop with their Republican policies. Then we'd get some universal health care, higher education, days off, living wages, family leave. Then people from Norway would come here because they already have that there. That's why they're in the 10 happiest places on earth. Year after year after year. Oh, I hate them. See, that's how Republicans are. He says, why can't we allow people to come in from nice countries? I'm trying to be nice. Nice countries. Like Denmark, Switzerland. Unbelievable, right? Norway. How about Norway, he says. Unbelievable. The cognitive dissonance. Well, how come? Because why would they come here, con man? So they can go on GoFundMe for medical care? So they can have no family leave? So they can have no vacation? So they can their kids could come out of college as indentured servants to banksters instead of other happily living in Norway citizens who get to go to college without having to, beg a bankster for a loan they'll never get out from underneath, and then have Republicans stand in the way if a Democratic president tries to do something about it. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. All right, yeah, right. Why would they leave the happiest countries on earth, as Haiku said, to come here? You see, Republicans, that's your party of personal responsibility. Why aren't they coming here? Why? I wonder why, Republicans. Why don't you look in the mirror? You want them to come? You want other countries, you want the happiest countries on earth to come here? Make this the happiest country. Stop tearing people apart. You go to Norway, they have a community spirit, just like they have that in Switzerland, too. They're in this together. You don't hear their politicians telling them to throw their fellow citizens off a bridge. You don't hear their politicians telling their citizens that everything sucks there, that their elections are shit and everything's being stolen from them, making dupes out of them. All right, guys, it's time to get unconscious. But we will be back on Friday, except Haiku will be at his rehearsal. But we'll all be here. Guys. And Haiku will be back one day soon. So don't fear. All right, guys, listen. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for your support always. Check out APS Radio News. This show is part of the APS Radio News roster. There are other independent media voices on there. And thank you, Mark, for your super chat. Nice to see you there, Mark. Thank you, Jim, for your super chat, as always. And thank you for being a moderator. And thank you, Haiku, for being a moderator. Thank you, Pookie's Mommy Irene, for your super chat. And thank you, guys. Thank you, patrons. If you can, become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. That keeps the show going and growing. And God help us. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate us being together during these times. I don't know what the hell I'd do without you, really. It is exhausting, isn't it? But we have each other. And we will win. We will. One step forward, two steps back sometimes, but we're on the right side of history. That is the truth. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight, guys. My name is Tara Devlin, and I will see you on Friday night. Have fun at your concert, Haiku, on Sunday.